Hello everyone and welcome to NFL Discussion. I'm your host and NFL enthusiast Dougie Doug. In today's episode I'm going to be discussing Black Friday, week 12 of the 2023 NFL season. And no, I'm not talking about the actual day. I'm talking about the Dolphins versus the Jets on Black Friday to kick off the first week or Black Friday game the first Black Friday game in NFL history. And let's just say it was not a memorable debut for the NFL here. I mean, granted, they were kind of set up to fail when you have a Jets team quarterbacked by Tim Boyle, and if the Jets are open to be in the exact same spot next year hosting the next Black Friday game, well, let's just say they probably won't. And with that, we're going to get right into the action, starting with the Miami Dolphins, who outclassed the Jets in this game. However, they still need to clean up the little things, i.e. turnovers, as Tua Tagovailoa threw 2 interceptions in this game. And if not for a few careless mistakes, it could have been a far more dominant performance for him. He was on target for much of the afternoon, connected with Tyreek Hill for a 7-yard touchdown in the second quarter, only to throw a pick 6 later in the quarter. He would then throw another interception on the ensuing drive, but the Dolphins still took a 17-6 lead into the half. Tua hooked up with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle for multiple long plays in the afternoon, and the Dolphins were in control throughout. Raheem Morstead was bottled up for much of the day, but a couple touchdowns in the second half helped an otherwise underwhelming outing. Morstead found the end zone on a 13-yard run for his first score, and poured salt in the wound late when he broke free for a 34-yard score to put the game on the reach in the final minutes. Morstead's busy day was aided by the fact that Devon Achane wasn't active for this game. But if Achane is active for week 13, it's likely there should be more of a split between the two. Tyreek Hill got 9 of 12 targets for 102 yards and a touchdown, and a vaunted Jets secondary was shredded by Hill and Waddle as both receivers passed the century mark on the day. Hill got things started with a 35-yard reception on the Dolphins' first possession. He followed that up with a 17-yard reception just a few plays later. His lone score came on a 7-yard pass, which wound up being the only passing score of the day for the Dolphins. Hill's 102-yard performance now gives him a league-high 1,324 yards and puts him on pace for 2,046 yards. On a quest to become the first 22,000-yard receiver in league history, Hill should add to that total with ease against the Commanders' defense. A Commanders' defense now being called by the head coach Ron Rivera because Jack Del Rio, the DC, got fired. But yeah, for the Dolphins, this was a pretty good win here. But again, the turnovers are something that they need to kind of work on. Just because you can put up a bunch of points doesn't mean that you can be excused for the turnovers. But with this win, the Dolphins now hold, they do hold the number 1 seed. Unlikely that's going to last, but it's a pretty good spot they find themselves in. And the New York Jets, who, well, despite making a change at quarterback, it produced little change at all. The offense was still terrible, and because of how terrible the offense is, well, this Jets team is still wasting the great defense that they have. Give them credit, they created turnovers and held their own and held down the fort as best as they could, but simply got overwhelmed because, well, they were on the field too much, and when your defense is on the field too much, they get gassed, and then you have the Miami Dolphins basically just running away with the game. So Tim Boyle completed 27 of 38 passes for 179 yards, 1 touchdown, and a couple of interceptions. And any hopes of Boyle being the quarterback to keep the Jets in the playoff hunt were smashed at the end of the first half. A painful couple quarters were capped by the Hail Mary, which was a attempted Hail Mary from Boyle, but instead of landing in the arms or the hands of the receiver in the end zone or falling short of the end zone, it ended up in the hands of Javon Holland, who returned it 99 yards for the score. Boyle and the Jets did find the end zone in the fourth quarter when he connected with Garrett Wilson on a 1-yard score, but the journeyman quarterback managed just 4.7 yards per attempt while absorbing 7 sacks. We'll see if Boyle gets a start in week 13 when the Jets take on the Falcons, but he might be one and done as the quarterback. Cue Trevor Siemian, I guess, because there's no way to go back to Zach Wilson. And as for Breece Hall, it was a forgettable day for him. The Jets managed as a team 2.9 yards per play, making life difficult for Hall and every skill position player in the afternoon. Quarterback concerns will continue to make things difficult for Hall, as well as Garrett Wilson, even though he did catch a touchdown. Of the 10 targets that Wilson saw from Boyle, the longest play could only muster 11 yards. He did, like I said, he did find the end zone and had 8 more targets than any other Jets receiver, 20, which equals out to a 26% target share, and that's encouraging. But it'll be hard to trust until the Jets see an improved quarterback play, and that cues up the question here, and that is, are changes coming for the Jets? We already saw them make a change at quarterback with benching Zach Wilson and demoting him to 3rd string in favor of Tim Boyle. Tim Boyle was not any better, so is there going to be another change at quarterback? Well, they do have Trevor Siemian, so I guess you could make that change, but is changing quarterback again going to be enough? What about the offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett? Are you going to evaluate his performance or are you just going to give him a pass because Aaron Rodgers was injured? Or a better question is ownership going to give the general manager and the head coach a pass because Aaron Rodgers got injured? Now, it's certainly possible they could, and yeah, you bet your entire season on Aaron Rodgers and he got injured, and then after that, basically your season was over, because even though you had a great defense, you had no plan B. Plan A was Rodgers, and that was it. That was the only plan you had. And when that plan went the wayside, yeah, you had nothing. So, what will ownership do? Will they choose to hold the front office accountable for only having one plan at quarterback, or just one plan in general, and then that plan not working out? Do they hold members of the coaching staff accountable for just not doing a good job coaching? Do they finally move on? I mean, well, it seems like they have moved on from Zach Wilson. I guess the question is, do they keep him on the roster, or do they finally get rid of him? I guess we shall see how that one plays out. And yeah, with that will conclude this episode of NFL Discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like button down below.